we're talking about Chris Christie in crisis mode. The New Jersey governor spent nearly 2 hours today apologizing for his aides who punished a political rival by orchestrating the closing of several lanes on one of the world's busiest bridges. Christie insists he knew nothing about it, but can he survive this political crisis? Tonight, Lanny Davis, he's the author of Crisis Tales. Political analyst Steve Adubato is here. And then a constitutional lawyer, you know him, Alan Dershowitz. He is the author of Taking the Stand. Thanks to all of you. Can we let's just talk here about whether or not, you know New Jersey politics, Steve, you follow it, you've been following it forever. Do you believe the governor didn't know about this?
I take the governor at his word, and I've interviewed him many times as a broadcaster on public television, and as a human being. I think I know his body language very well. And there's another practical issue. You do not name Bill Stepien, his campaign manager of this recent campaign. You do not name him to be the chairman of the Republican State Committee in New Jersey. You do not name him to be your point person with the Republican Governors Association nationally. That's his point person. You do not name him to those positions just recently, a few days ago, right? If you know that that is the guy who was in those emails, the governor is not stupid. That is why, and plus just having a sense of him, you do not do that, plus leave no wiggle room. If Chris Christie was lying today, you'll find out very soon. He's not stupid. I do not believe he would have done that. And just instinctively, watching him today for nearly 2 hours, I believe him.
Lanny Davis, apologize for 2 hours. Is it enough? And you can follow up on what Steve said as well.
Well, first of all, I take him at his word as well. I speak as a crisis manager only. I don't intend to second guess or be critical of Governor Christie. I'm a Jersey boy from Jersey City, New Jersey, and I actually like Governor Christie. But I would say as a crisis manager, he made two fundamental mistakes. I give him credit for what he did today. He did a great job. But he didn't answer two very important questions, which is what we crisis managers try to anticipate. One, when all that traffic jam was going on, why didn't you ask why? There are public safety issues involved in that traffic jam. Where were you when that traffic jam was occurring, and why aren't you addressing that today in your press conference? And two, why did you rely on a 1-hour semi-official investigation internally by two of your highest aides? Why didn't you call in an independent investigator and go through the emails yourself with an independent investigator, because you had warning that friends of yours were responsible for this? Now, those two questions he should have answered himself today. They're going to be asked, and I'm not sure what his answers are, but as a crisis manager, I'd advise him to answer them.
Quickly, Steve, I have a question for Alan. Go ahead.
Lanny, here's my view. Some of that may be true, but the governor took responsibility. He fired his campaign manager, who is his top political advisor. He fired a deputy chief of staff within 24 hours of the emails. That's a lot of action.
But I agree with that.
Here's the question.
But he didn't answer my questions, and neither did you. Yeah. And I'm just saying a crisis manager would say to a client, and Alan Dershowitz
well, that's
will
why I want to talk to Alan
you
about.
better be out in front and answer the two questions I just asked, and there are going to be others
it
that he didn't
appears here that, from what you're saying, Lanny, is that he appears to be asleep at the wheel. He appears to be asleep at the wheel. He didn't know about the traffic problems when it was happening. He didn't know about his staff. So Alan Dershowitz, there are a lot of legal questions here. You know, the 91-year-old woman, the heart attack, all of these things. Governor Christie, does he need to lawyer up, and could he be held responsible legally?
He needs to have Lanny David to be his crisis manager and his lawyer. The other question he didn't answer is, why would these aides have shut down the lanes unless they believed that he would approve it? Clearly, they had to believe that. Now, the two aides are in serious trouble because they created a traffic jam that may have led to the death of a woman, may have led to missed appointments, missed school days. And if they are prosecuted successfully, they may well turn on the governor and say, hey, we're not taking this fall by ourselves. We were led to believe this is what you wanted. You wanted to take revenge on this mayor. Maybe you left it to us how to take the revenge. But it reminds me of Henry II when he said to his knights, who will rid me of this troublesome priest? And then they went and killed Thomas Becket. So I don't want to make analogies here between killing and what happened here. But I do think that there are real legal problems here because the law works backwards. It says there's a dead person, there are missed appointments. What caused it?
Quickly,
and
Alan.
there's also a concept of willful blindness. If he told his aides, don't tell me, I don't want to know, just take revenge, that's the equivalent of knowledge.
That's all kinds of
So he's in
speculation.
trouble.
I want to make it clear, though, the 91-year-old's family said it wasn't the cause of the heart attack.
Exactly. But they
right.
voted for him.
Yeah,
but
but
they
here's
voted
the
for
thing.
him.
Here's-
come on.
They're Christie supporters.
That's not a legal question.
Yes.
That's political conjecture on your part, and you're connecting that to a legal case. That's totally irresponsible.
Well,
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what they believe. The medical examiner will determine whether the missed 3 or 4 minutes might have allowed them to restore her heartbeat when she had heart failure.
Okay,
It's not for them to decide that. It's for an examination.
Lanny, hold
to
on.
decide
Let me.
that.
This question is for you because Chris Christie said he's doing a whole lot of soul searching and what he's trying to examine in himself. It would lead people to lie to him and do these sorts of things. Here's a question: when you see the type of behavior that Chris Christie has in press conferences, a lot of people like Chris Christie, but they don't like that he has this. And there's a better word for it, starts with an A and ends with an S, that he has this sort of personality. And possibly, Lanny, could this be because people in his administration, because of his antics, they may think that they are above the law, that they don't have to answer to anyone because Chris Christie will shoot you down, Mr. Reporter, Mr. Anchor, Mr. whomever, in a press conference, so I don't have to answer to anyone. Lanny Davis.
Look, I take him at his word, and I admire what he did today, but he did too little too late about the big question, and it is that he knew about that traffic jam when it was occurring, and why didn't it concern him? And I do want to know why he didn't hire an outside counsel to independently go through emails and not rely on a 1-hour survey within his office and say today that that's what assured him to go out and say that nobody knew. Those two things, I would say he still has to explain.
All good questions, and I know
That's
you're
why
champing at the
soul-searching.
bit. Everybody's champing at the bit. It's a conversation that we can continue forever, but unfortunately we can't. Thanks to all of you, gentlemen.